Alright, today we're going to try and rebuild our couplers on the John Deere 3020 with the new ISO couplers. So you see we have this kit here and I've already opened it. There's a couple of things in there. One of them is the instruction manual, and then we also have one of these which originally came in a wrapper. That's the ISO coupler itself. And you have another ISO coupler here still in the bag. And then you have a whole bunch of seals and the little metal caps for the top of the coupler. A couple roll pins. And it's raining, so it may get hard to hear. And then you have these, which are the engagement valves, so to speak, the levers. And then you have the inside pieces which go down through here. So the reason why I'm doing this is I've already resealed my couplers, and they worked for about, I don't know, 2 years, and then one of them's just leaking really bad constantly all the time, and it's actually coming out of the bottom of the coupler. So we're going to go ahead and update to the new style couplers so that we don't have to use the adapters anymore to go from the John Deere, the old school John Deere fittings to the newer Pioneer ISO fittings. So we're going to do that. First thing I've got to do is go ahead and get the coupler off of the machine, and then I'm going to wash it, and then I'll bring it back here to the table, and we'll go ahead and start the process of tearing it apart and putting it back together. Just in case you're wondering, this is a Parker kit. You can see that there. The Parker kit is, the actual part number on it is 115903. Otherwise, the John Deere type part number is an RE206778. So we're going to go ahead and start the process of taking off the coupler, and we'll be back. Alright, so we've got the remote control or remote valve off, the remote coupler valve off the back. As you can see, this one's been welded. It was actually welded before I got the tractor. Someone did a really good job breaking that off, but they welded it back on, and it's been holding for the 5 or 6 years that I've had this tractor. We've already washed it. Now what we've got to do is start disassembling it. We're going to get all this stuff out that's currently inside of here. If you look here, oh, that was loud. So these are the levers that engage and disengage the hydraulics. So if these are this way, it won't flow out. If they're the other way, it will flow. So that controls the little detent ball that's in the back there, which allows the hydraulic flow to come through. It also presses the ball on the Pioneer fitting at the same time, and it works on both sides. And actually, while I'm sitting here looking at this, it appears that I am missing a snap ring. I know it was in there the last time I redid it, so it's come out since then. I don't think that's why it's leaking though. I think it's leaking because of a seal back in this area right here. And like I said, I've just resealed this, and since I have to go through it again, I figured the best thing to do would be to go ahead and put in the new style ISO coupler valves. So right now, I guess the first thing that we need to do is go ahead and take this apart. To do that, we actually have to pull these little caps off right here, which is going to involve actually driving a punch into the inside of that valve on the top here. We're going to drive a punch into that and pull that out on both sides. Once you get in there, there's a snap ring. I've got to actually go grab some sharper punches, and we will start pulling that apart. I will go ahead and video taking one apart, but that's a whole lot of beating and banging on stuff, so we'll get that apart, and then we'll slowly start to disassemble the valve itself. Alright, so I've got a couple of sharper punches here. We're going to try not knock over the camera, but you actually have to drive a little bit of a hole into this. And it'll come right out. Now if you can get it out of the cap, that's a whole different story. And it's stuck. I'm going to have to use a pair of pliers and a punch probably to get that out of there. But once you get it off, you'll see there's a little E-clip in here. You can pull that E-clip off, and then all this will come out through the bottom, and then it's actually really easy to pull the rest of this out. So we've got that one off. We got to get the other side off. We'll get the other side off, and then we'll start working on that. Alright, so as you can see, we've got both covers off. The other one got stuck just the same way. So now we need to get these E-clips off here. And in the directions that we have, it says to discard those E-clips. I farm. Sometimes you need stuff. I don't discard anything. We'll put them off to the side and we'll save them for later. Just got a couple tools here. E-clips are always fun. You got to watch. They don't pop off and go flying everywhere. So there's one E-clip. Alright, and let's get the second E-clip out of there. This one's actually going to have to turn a little bit to come out. So when I did that, the spring also popped out. You can see there's a little bitty spring in there. By our instructions over there, it says to take these off and discard them, but we're just going to go ahead and set them off to the side. I like to set everything in the way that they came off, and that way if for some reason I need to put it back like it was, I can go ahead and do that. So now that we have those out, we'll move these tools off to the side here. We're going to go ahead and pull that center cap out, or that center piece out here. We can just pull this right out. I say that. That one's pretty tight, so I don't think it was actually leaking on this side. So it probably was leaking on the side with a snap ring. So that comes out just like that. And goes back in just the same way. And just snaps right back in. You can take a punch and punch it out. See, I don't think this one's leaking like that either. I'm not sure where the leak is coming from. You got to get that out. So we're going to work on the side that already has a snap ring off first. So that one goes on this side here. And now that that's all out, we should be able to get a screwdriver in here, and we're just going to run it through that hole. I'm going to kind of pop that out there. Being careful not to scratch anything, because I like having extra parts if I need them. So if I need to go back, we'll go back. So you also see on the back here, this is popping all the way out. And when you reseal these, there is a little bitty ring inside of here that is absolutely fun to put back in, but we won't be putting this whole centerpiece back in here, so we don't have to worry about that and taking that off. But we're going to go ahead and push that out, grab a different punch here. There we go. There it went really fast too. So this is supposed to, now I'm trying to remember which way it goes. This goes like that. You can see it comes right out. And all of our balls come flying out and all that good stuff. They're all over this sheet here and down in there. But we'll collect all those up, put them back together. And 1, 2, 3. There's 4 of them in there. I'm missing 2 of the balls on this tray somewhere. Or they went flying, one of the 2. not a big deal really. So once you get that off, you can see all the way through this. There's not really a whole lot to the outside. You can see some grime and stuff in there we'll have to get cleaned out. We will wash this all again before we put it back together, just to make sure everything's good and clean. And then once we're done taking it all apart and putting it all back together, we'll paint the whole thing so it doesn't look like a rust bucket. Again, looking in the back here, if you can see, there's a backup ring and an O-ring right here, and those are brand new. It doesn't look like it was leaking out the back there. It still looks like it was coming down through this hole right here. But, and of course inside here there's another ring, backup ring, and an O-ring. We'll get the other one out, and then we'll get this thing washed up real good again. I'll show you how to take these snap rings out. They're fun. So this isn't your traditional type snap ring here. I guess it is your traditional type snap ring. It does not have the ears on it where you can grab a hold of it with a normal set of snap ring pliers. You just kind of got to get in behind it. It's a little bit of a fight. You can use a flathead or you can use a pick. You can get up under it like that and kind of pry it out. I usually try and use a combination between a pick and a flathead. Well, it went out, but it went out the wrong way. And it's right back in. It's easier to do if you can put it in a vise, and then everything's not moving around on you. Easy peasy, right? I'm not the best with these little things. The pick's about shot. This is why I don't understand how the other one has come out, because they are such a pain to get out of here. I just did some of these on a hydraulic pump I resealed for one of these, which I'm going to do another video on when I get this tractor apart. Alright, so there's that there fancy snap ring. These are the bane of my existence. And since we're missing one, we're going to get in a snap ring kit. I'm hoping with the new style of coupler that I'll be able to use an actual internal snap ring with a little ears on it. I'm not 100% sure I will, but I've got one right here. So the question is, will this work in this piece here? What I'm worried about, see, I only have so many sizes. If that will work, I've got a snap ring I can replace that one with. Oop, I'm too high. So it's a whole lot easier to stick something in here and go boop than it is to mess around with those non-eared snap rings. And there's another 2 balls there. We'll get them put in here so they don't get lost. But now we gotta pull the other side out again. This side here, we'll pull that out and we'll get this thing into the washer again, clean it up real good, and then we'll start getting these seals out that are inside, because in the instructions it says to pull those out and replace them with the new seals. Since it's a new kit and I haven't done one of these before, we're going to do exactly what they say, even though those seals are brand new. Well, 2 years old. Anyway, we'll get that pulled out, I'll get it cleaned up, and we'll be right back. Now that I've got everything out and everything cleaned up, I can actually tell you exactly why it's leaking. I'm going to try to get the camera in here. If you look, and I don't know if you can see it, but there is part of a backup ring that has exited the space inside there, and it's been squished. So it looks like it kind of blew out, is what it looks like. But it's deformed, so it isn't any good. I could actually put this back together, but since I've already got the other kit, that's what we're going to do. We're going to put in the other kit, and we're going to pull out this piece. And I'm getting a warning that my camera battery is dying, so we might have to wait for another one to charge. But see this ring in here I'm playing with? That's now stuck in the middle. This piece had come out of its groove a little bit, probably because of that missing snap ring, and got deformed. Trying to get a hold of it there. So that's one of the backup rings, and you can see, I mean, some of this I just did, but you can see that came out. And again, if I had to guess, that's because of the snap ring. It came too far forward, fell into another gap on this piece, and just fell out and got squished. Now there's another O-ring in here we're going to pull out. So just as a note, the backup ring was towards the front here. Always working with these inside ones. They're always really fun. You got to be careful not to scratch anything up or anything like that. You can actually see there might actually be a little bit of paint in here too, like paint flakes. Whoever owned this before me had this tractor painted, and everything was painted over. I'm going to turn it so I can see it, and we're going to get this snap ring, or this O-ring out of there. So there's that O-ring right there. I'm just going to look at it and feel it. That O-ring's actually okay. We got both of those out on this side. Just kind of feeling around for any burrs or anything like that. You can see some rust inside of here. A good piece of 3M will help clear that up, which I'll do. You can see a little bit of rust up here on the inside of this, where my finger's at right now. We'll clean that up pretty good. I think this time when I put this back together and I put these caps back on, I think I'm going to put a little bit of silicone right across the top of those, just to keep water from getting inside of them, because my tractor is not always stored inside. So I'm going to let's go ahead and spin it around, and you'll see on the back side in here there's another backup ring and another O-ring right here, and I think this one might be easier maybe to get the O-ring out first, but I could be wrong. With a backup ring, it's best you find where it starts and where it stops, which is right here. And it's just going to try and do circles on me, so I'll try and get that out of there. Oop, we almost got it. Oop. Almost. Hold still, booger. It's hard to get these out without messing them up. Push a little and pull a little, and nope, it's already messed up. There we go. Alright, well, our battery died and we had to wait a while to charge it. So since we had to wait for all the batteries to charge, we went ahead, here's my tractor, we went ahead and cleaned that thing off real good and gave it a paint job on at least one side. It's curing right now. It's still a little bit tacky to the touch. I've got a light over the top of it, which is helping it dry a little bit faster. It's a little cloudy and rainy outside. I don't normally like to paint when it rains, but I figured we'd go ahead and give this thing a good coat of paint, primer and paint, before we put it back together. I'll have to clean some stuff up on the inside, get some of the paint off, but that's no big deal. I didn't get it into the back here where the O-rings or anything ride, so it should be alright, but a little bit longer and we'll get back to putting this thing together. Alright, so we've got her all painted now, and again, not the best paint job in the world, but it's a paint job. Definitely looks better than what it looked like before. So now we're going to start putting some seals in and putting at least most of this back together. You see I also pulled off the top pieces there, and I'm still kind of, and I'll clean the rest of the paint out, and it's just kind of coming off. It's not 100% dry right now. And the inside I made sure to put just a little bit of oil on so that the paint wouldn't stick, so we can clean that right out and we don't have to worry about paint messing up our O-rings when we do that. But that's, so now we're going to go ahead and open up our seals and O-rings package here. There's not a Ziploc bag. I gotta just tear into it here. We've got a sealing ring, or a backup ring, and we've got some O-rings, or we've got this style right here. And it says if you use these, just make sure you put them facing each other. If I remember right, when I originally did this, this is what was in here, this style, when I originally did a seal on it. But besides the fact that the backup ring got messed up, the sealing, the O-rings and the backup washers actually did pretty well. So we're going to try and get those back in there. And again, what we remember from last time, make sure there's no dirt on here, is we're just going to very gently stick our finger down in here. The white part of the ring was towards us, or the white ring was towards us, the O-ring was further away. You don't want to stretch these out too much because they won't get in their place if you do. So we're just going to kind of squeeze it together here. You can do this one of two ways. You can do what I'm doing here and make it smaller, just like that, or you can try and coil it in. But this one's a little too deep to try and coil it in, and I'm hoping I can do this the way this is all set up. Get that down in there. Kind of push this that way. Nope, I done messed up. Alright, let's try that again. I'll show you a little bit better on the back side. If I had some really fine needle nose, this would actually work pretty good. But I don't have any right now. So I've kind of got it just kind of wedged in there a little bit. You can see it on this side here. It's just kind of wedged in there. We don't want to push too much. And boom. And just like that, our white ring is completely in. So now we've got to put our O-ring on the back side of that. And take our O-ring, and I just take these with my finger. Take it down, run it just past it. Oops. There's a cavity just past it, so you got to be careful. Run that in there. Get this one stuck in there. They make actual tools for this, and I have them, but most people aren't going to have them, so I'm not going to put them in that way. Just get that O-ring kind of wedged in there. I have a little jar of oil, but right now I'm not going to use that oil just yet. We'll lube it up real good before we put it together. So that side's all in, our O-ring's in, our backup ring is in. That all looks pretty good. Now we're going to do our back side here. We're going to do the same thing. Hopefully I can show you and kind of keep my hands out of the way. Again, I'm going to take this white ring. I'm just going to roll it together, kind of like this. And we're going to put that right in that hole. I let go in the wrong place. We're just going to slide that in here. And it's starting to rain again. And a little bit of paint right there, but I don't want to scratch it off right now. So that white ring is in. It's all the way in there. Same thing here. We're going to take this O-ring. And these are the same size. They can be a little bit difficult to get in there. I'm going to stick the whole thing in there and just pull back on the O-ring. Put it into place. And just like that, that one's in there. So we're going to go ahead and do the other side now. And take another ring. Make it a whole bunch smaller. Stick it in the hole. Nope, didn't make it enough, small enough. When you do this, it kind of makes it conical, makes it into a cone. And my fingers aren't working now for some reason. And that one's in there. So we'll take our other O-ring and stick it all the way down in there. Go past the white ring and then pull it back up. Make sure not to catch the white ring. I'm going to have to move the white ring just a little bit. All the way in. Grab a hold of the one side while pushing out. Try and get it in that groove there. This one might need just a little bit of help. There we go. Now we got that one started. I don't know if you can see, it's kind of started in there, and we just kind of push it in all the way around. Try not to roll the O-ring. Now our backup ring and our O-ring is in on that side. We got one more to put in. On the other side here. And this one, because it's so far down in, it's hard for me to do it and face the camera. So we're going to make this a whole bunch smaller. pretty good there. Ooh, this backup ring is not wanting to coil the same way. It needs to get significantly smaller here. So I can use my finger and stick it down in there sideways. And then just kind of put it in. That one's in there. Same thing here, we're going to stick the O-ring in. Basically all the way in, and then grab the other side. Pull it back up till it catches a groove. And feed the rest of the O-ring into the hole. Now I'm going to be able to put this most of the way back together, but because I don't have a snap ring that works for this one side, and that's all of our seals in here. That's all that it takes. 4 backup rings and 4 O-rings. Now if you go back here and you look at the instructions, it tells us to install the coupler with the chamfered hole C up. So make sure the chamfered hole is up. So we take a look at this piece right here, and we see this hole has a chamfer. So we want to make sure that's up. Now when we're putting this in, we want to make sure that we don't catch those sealing rings. So we're just going to kind of feel it and see how tight it is real fast, and then we're going to lube it up. And it's unfortunate, we're going to get a little bit oily and makes it a little harder to work on, but you've got to lube your O-rings. So I've got just a little bit of hydraulic oil right here in this Smucker's jar. And I'll pour it in the lid so I don't make a mess. On our finger there. Leave this one up real well. I don't know if you've ever tried to install O-rings when they're lubed, but it's not very easy. So I'm just going to keep kind of cramming this oil down in there, and we'll lube up this shaft here in a minute too. We'll lube this side. Now on the sealing ring, on the O-ring, it's basically all the way through this hole here. And yep, it's raining again. Wasn't supposed to rain after 2 o'clock. Alright, so we've got that pretty well lubed. Now, this time, I'll shake this rag out real fast, tear the painted part off. Now I'm going to put a little bit of oil right there on the rag and just wipe this down real good. This whole section here. And try and keep it from ruining our backup rings and our O-ring. So again, we got to find the chamfered side, make sure it's up, and we're going to lovingly twist and push. Look at the other side, make sure we don't have anything tore up there. That's good so far. Now we're to the back rings. And looks like we're through. Now it says to go ahead and install the snap ring, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, lock coupler to housing using previously removed snap ring. Now you see, this snap ring will go in there just fine. If I try and use the snap ring I was going to use on the other side where it's missing, I can't close the snap ring enough in order to use it. So I'm actually going to have to order the proper snap ring. And I'm just going to put a little bit of oil on this snap ring here, so it'll irritate me in a minute. I'm going to stand it up. And we're going to try and push that snap ring down in there with this. And where's my other screwdriver? Really, I'm going to scratch this paint up. There ain't no way around it. Just like that. See? Just scratched it. I can't really tell if that part's in the groove or not. Did I mention I really don't like these snap rings? If anybody's got a better trick to working with these aggravating little pieces of junk, just let me know. Because I am not good at working with these, not at all. So, as you can see, I'm sitting here fighting it. I can't. It's even harder with this new coupler in there. So we're going to pull that out just a little bit more. Give me some more room. Maybe. I say that. Why won't you come out? Trying not to stab my finger. And it just popped all the way out. Doesn't help, everything's oily too. There it goes. Just gotta quit worrying about the paint, I guess. Alright, now our snap ring's in there, and that can't come any further out anymore. Now, so that's in there. Now we're supposed to open this other package. We're supposed to open this other package, which is right here. Sorry. We're supposed to get this little piece out. And we lubricate the O-rings again. Right there. And it says go top down. I'm just going to lube that up just a little bit. We're supposed to try and get that ball to come out there. Force this in down past the other ball. Not really the way I expected that to go. That's what it says. And we are supposed to push it until it comes out the bottom. That's going to hurt my finger. We're just going to give it a tap. We're almost there. And it just snapped into place. So now, that's pretty interesting how that works. It's still going to use those releases I'm not 100% sure I put this snap ring in the right place. Well, it can't go anywhere else. It won't fit. So now that we have that in there, we turn it over. And there is another bar, this bar here. honest with you, I'm not sure which way it goes. Okay, it says like this. It says, for easy installation, coupler should be pushed fully inward and shaft turned to open position to reduce the spring load. Install handle A in position shown onto the coupler assembly. It is necessary to depress the top of the shaft to install the handle. The handle will normally contact the bottom of the coupler housing in this position. So it's actually showing it this way. Now I'm going to tell you, if I've got to push that, maybe I've got something small enough to put in there and twist it. Push this back. Yeah, I'm supposed to push that down? Okay. I'm supposed to do that with my fingers? Right. I just don't see that happen. I might have to get out a clamp if I've got one small enough. I'm going to tell you, my hands are not strong enough to squeeze that. Oh, maybe they are. But you've got to do that, and you've got to put in one of these little bitty roll pins. All at the same time. Let me get it started in this hole. Yeah, right. It looks like the roll pin is going to be completely in. So that releases the ball, and that's supposed to pull it back in. Those are huge, way different than what I'm used to. This doesn't really move a whole lot, so balls are getting tight and the balls are loose. It looks like it's going to work. Put my fingers off there. So I can do everything to this one except for put on that snap ring, really. Always lubricate your O-rings. We got O-rings right inside here with backup rings too. I don't know if those are the same size as the other ones, but now we've got this nice shiny handle here, and that side's done. That's it for that side. Now we can do the other side. We're going to lubricate everything up. The only thing I'm concerned about is not having that snap ring, but I can't do absolutely anything with the tractor, and it's sitting right behind me right now unless I have that this plug back up, because it will just spray everywhere. And I questioned a whole lot about this rubber cap in the back on this one here, whether it needed to come off or not. It doesn't look like it. I'd leave it on there. I can't tell you that it's going to stay on there, but it's on there. So now I don't have to use them funky John Deere adapters anymore. I should be able to use normal Pioneer type fittings on that side anyway. And the very last thing I'm going to do is put those caps back on, just in case I have to take anything apart. So that side's completely together for the most part. Now we've got to do the other side. We'll get to the rubber covers later. Right now I just kind of want to get it together so I don't lose any pieces or anything like that. So again, it wants the chamfered side up. We're going to lube this up real good. Where'd our lube rag go? Lube, 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 lube. Never have enough lube. Alright, chamfered side up. We are going to gently coerce this sucker in there. I'll make sure we don't mess up any of the backup rings or O-rings. That side's pretty much in. This needs to rotate just a bit there. I'm going to shake, rattle, and roll, twist and turn just a little bit to get it to go in to the back side. I don't want to force it because we don't want to mess up that backup ring, but it looks like we're actually already through it. Turn this about straight up and down and push in just a little bit further. And open up our other package here. Plastic is getting a whole lot harder since I'm oily. Pull those up real good there. Lube this one up. And we're supposed to tilt it forward. That front ball will fall down. It doesn't really appear to matter which way, which one of these little divots right here is front or back. It doesn't appear to matter. As you can see, when you put it in, it actually tries to go in crooked. So you got to kind of put pressure that way. At the same time, you're pushing down. Once it gets through that bottom hole, you push a little bit harder until it snaps into place. And it's hurting my hand again, so we're just going to give it a tap. And there it is. So that one's in. It sure would be nice if I could use this snap ring. It would be nice, but I think unless I modify the snap ring, I don't think I can get it to close far enough. I can tell you now I'm not going to be able to get it to close far enough. Even if that one goes in there, it's too fat down here and it's too fat right here. If it was that thickness right there all the way through, we could use it. But it's not, so let's just go ahead and take it off of there. I will order one and put it on there. Don't forget to put that snap ring back on. Turn it back over. We got another one of them bars sitting over here. Kind of get rid of that box. Stick it on there. And again, you really got to push this thing. Oop, too far forward. Oh my goodness. Where'd that other little roll pin go? There's our other roll pin. We just need to get just enough in there. Wow. there's that. So both sides are on there. See, this one's not really going to work without the snap ring in there. It does not want to push it forward. And see, when it comes all the way forward like that, it doesn't work too well. And I think that's what caused the other ring to go out. But fortunately, that would be on, that would be off. So that's that for that. That's actually pretty much complete. To put these little rings back on here, you just take your rubber mallet like this and you tap them back in there. Don't whack the snot out of them, because if you bend them, they're no good. So just tap them back in there, and like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and I'm going to put a little ring of silicone just right around the top, try and keep some of the water from getting down in here. I noticed some rust and stuff like that. That's pretty much it. That's all it takes to change these over to ISO couplers. It's really not that big of a deal. The hardest part is trying to stay clean while you do it. Which now it's already annoying me. It's covered in oil. But that's pretty much it. We'll check back in after we put a new snap ring in it, and we'll get all those covers put back on, and we'll be done after that. I forgot one more thing here. The rubber guards that go on these here, I don't want to use the old chains. They're nasty. So I've got some of this chain here, and I'm going to cut it to length, and I think I'm going to use some key rings. I'm going to put some key rings through here and through this chain. I'm only going to cut one length of chain. It won't be two. The piece that holds the chain on I took off earlier, and it's drying. But basically this will come under here, and it'll sit across that way, and I'll put some on this chain on each end. I'll put a key ring, and then I'll be able to put my covers on. Well, you're supposed to be able to put your coupler covers on. That's pretty much how it's going to fit right there. So I don't need a whole lot of chain sticking out, just some. Those will be gone in a year anyway. But they're here, so I'm going to put them on there. They'll be gone in less than a year if that's all the better they hold on. That's a little better. Woo! I really need that snap ring. So those will go on there. We'll put it all back together. We'll put it on the tractor.